What is up, everyone? Welcome to the second Monday of April. Today's going to be a fantastic day because I have a very special guest, and we need to talk about that. You're safe, right? Because it's New York Central right now. That's all people are talking about. So you're good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Okay, excellent. Well, it's like gotta make sure. Otherwise, you would have been the first Corona person on the show. Would have been, been the first. I would have been, I say go get the ventilator. But anyway, a very special guest here today. We've actually known each other for a while. It's probably been a couple months on and off talking through LinkedIn, right?
It's been a while. You're right. Has it been six, maybe?
As introduce yourself, I'll figure out the the answer to that one. I can always go back
Okay.
to the messages.
So my name is Hennesys, guys, and I am the founder and CEO of Purple. Purple is a company that is trying to reinvent delivery for healthcare by being more product focused and patient focused. So our role right now is to improve the way people are doing blood draw procedures. So we developed a kit to do that. Currently, it's been tested, but in our space, not yet in a facility, and it's 50% less time to do a blood draw at a lab or a clinic with our kit as opposed to what's out there. So we hope
That's
to,
great.
yeah,
And look, let me tell you guys, since and we talked about it before I came, we came on, but in healthcare, 50% is fantastic. Like we're talking in healthcare, if you see like a 3 or 4% increase in like efficiency or time reduction, like that's a win. So 50% is significant.
yeah.
And just to answer our question, July 31st, 2019. So it's been a while.
Oh,
I think I was coming to New York for my book launch, and that's where I think the messages started going. But anyway, we're gonna go back to. It's interesting because, like I mentioned before, uh, project management has an interesting role into. I've seen very successful entrepreneurs come out of some type of product management role. What do you think has been the most important part about transitioning from project management into a executive?
so, like you said, I mean, it's funny because they're kind of, I feel like linear
Mm,
in a way. Like I'm working with teams, I'm still working on timelines. The only difference now is I have to work more with funding and finance, but just mostly like staying in touch with everybody, making sure communication is transparent, um, making sure if we don't meet the deadlines, what can we do? How can we pivot? So it's really the same mindset, but now it's at a different scale. Like there's more that I need to know or be aware of, as opposed to just in project management. It was just a project that I had to kind of learn and grow and evolve. Now it's like I'm bringing this project into the world. So it's like, how is the world going to react with this project? So it's more like there's more coming in, like a lot of input, and then there's
mm.
taking out a lot of output too. So we've got a bigger scale.
When you were 7, 8, 9, did you imagine that your life would be like this?
No, not at all. 7, 8, 9. So I wanted to work in film.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
why I started with film degree. So it's film animation degree that I got at SVA. So I started thinking a lot about film and writing stories when I was a kid. It
Mm,
wasn't. It was never this idea that I was going to start a company, but life took its way, and I found a problem that I really want to solve because I was in the problem. I
mm,
was part of a group or a team that had to have a lot of blood draws a day with patients, and doing patient care and worrying about procedures was kind of like really, it was mind blowing how we haven't streamlined this yet. Like, it's like, why is this still taking 2 or 3 hours to get people to get the help they need?
mm. What? So I'm fascinated. How did that transition happen? Because it's interesting. So we went from film animation into healthcare. What was that? What was that jump like? Was it like a? It probably wasn't. Yeah, I'm gonna have you answer. Was it out of the blue? Was it just you know?
So basically, I started volunteering while I was in college, just volunteering at the hospital. I really liked working with people. And so after kind of seeing how many problems there were there, I was like, why isn't anybody working to solve these issues? And that's where I kind of felt like I was needed there.
Mm,
I felt like I had a responsibility that I've worked through with these people, with these teens, and I saw what they were going through, but not doing anything about it. So that's where it kind of shifted for me, and I decided to start doing it full time.
And a lot of people, and this is really why I wanted to have you on, is a lot of people think about entrepreneurship, and especially our age, um, it's can be daunting. So, what led you to thinking, okay, I see the problem. Why don't I start a company around it?
Yeah. So at first, I wasn't too sure about it. But I think mentors and a lot of supporters, like, so the support that I had was always, hey, maybe you should try this,
Mm,
good at this. And it's like, well, I don't really see myself as, a leader and all that. I can't even be in front of a camera and be okay. Like, I'll be like shivering and nervous and stuff. So,
you're doing a great job now.
well, I'm trying really hard.
It's okay. It's hey, listen. You took the biggest step with starting a company. This little microphone and camera setup is it's not gonna hurt you. Trust me.
So, basically, decided that I would take their advice and try it. I started attending like workshops. There's a lot of free workshops. There's free
Mm,
events online where you can just start. Like, let's say you don't know what an executive summary is or how to put a pitch deck together, right? You just Google it. Maybe ask some people who have small businesses or startups, or just cold email them, cold call them. Like, people answer. It's amazing. I wouldn't be where I am if people weren't out there saying, "Oh, yeah, this is a cool idea, but just add this to it." And these were people that were in it. So people are really willing to reach out.
mine's the same way. Most people do not ask. And I got my start in marketing because I DM'd CEOs in Silicon Valley and said, "Hey, what task can I do for you?" And you probably did something similar, like I have this problem. Like, let's talk about it. So then I want to back it up a little bit and really talk about what Purple's mission is, because most likely it's a small company and pivots happen and market shifts, and especially what's happening now probably has changed the timelines trajectory. So walk us through Purple and what's going on there today.
So right now, because of, like you mentioned, COVID did put a hold on some things that we've been working on. Like, we've been talking discussions with like manufacturing and seeing how can we start to scale, how can we start to make these products.
Hmm.
And because right now the high priority is ventilators, it's like everybody's kind of like shifting towards, we're just making ventilators at this time because it's necessary and it's essential. So our product is more of a kit, and it's more like something that can prepare for definitely emergencies. But we are at a stage right now where we're just applying to grants, looking at who else would be a good partner, who would want to learn more about this. So just reaching out definitely to people, writing. I've been writing a lot to kind of
Okay.
bit, yeah, about what we're doing. And I just got an email back from someone who, they're like a magazine, and they're like, hey, we want to hear more about this. Like, things like that. Just keep the ball rolling. Even though we can't start manufacturing, we could continue to start talking about ways we can improve. Maybe someone, maybe someone else would be able to help us out too. That'd be awesome.
I love the proactive nature, because I think that's a constant in probably both of our lives. Is you have, like, if something's not working,
Yeah.
it's you got to do something about it, right? And there's and I want you to talk about this more. There's no playbook, right? There's one thing I'm telling people continuously, whether you're a W-2 employee, a startup, a founder, there's no road roadmap. So how have you been able to navigate that? Because it's stressful. Like, it's very stressful not having a roadmap.
It's funny because that's kind of the exciting part for me.
Oh, really? Let's talk about this.
Yes, the fact that there is no roadmap, it's almost like if you found an innovative or creative way to do something and no one has thought about it yet, you can try doing it and then see if it works. And it's like no one saw if it didn't. But if you found something and it did work, then it's like it's pretty much it's your way to take it. So take it where you want to take it. I think that that's kind of exciting.
Hmm.
I think you also meet new people along the way, which is kind of cool. And so you share new ideas. I'm trying to think what other things, like, because there is no playbook, it's almost like you're inventing a whole new, it's like a little universe. You're making a little world, and this is how you think it's going to go. And so if it doesn't go this way, it's like, well, that's okay. because there's always tomorrow. It's almost like you're writing your own story. I don't know. It's exciting.
No, it's so true. I always compare it to Frankenstein's monster. You're like reading from this, and you incorporate like the leg here, and then you're making the arm, and like you're kind of just putting this thing together, and you're like, I hope it lives. Um, but what I want to bring it back to is why you love entrepreneurship, because I think it's interesting because I always ask my guests what topics do you feel most passionate about that you can talk hours about, and you said entrepreneurship, and I think it has got an interesting rep because it's so easy to do. I say quote unquote because it's not.
Yeah.
But I want you to talk about entrepreneurship and like the current state of it. You're more in it than I am. I think think we're both in it, but still.
No, I think every small business is not, that person has to be an entrepreneur, right?
Mm-hmm.
That term I know is used very loosely. Like at
Mm-hmm.
first when people would call me an entrepreneur, I'm like, no, don't call me that. Because they had a lot of bad reputation. Like people are known to like, I don't know, do all sorts of strange things, and they would be called an entrepreneur because they've got like 6 different ideas in there and they're all going their own way, and it's like, well, I don't think I can do that. But after I kind of got over that hill of like, okay, I'm an entrepreneur. That's what they call you. That's what that's what this is called. Someone who wants to build something and create something and then try to take it out and share it with other people. So I think the reason why I liked it so much was because there was kind of this community. There's like you're in it, so you're with other people too.
Mm-hmm.
There was something about like we could all talk about what's going on in the world, and it's not like so much that we were competing, but we actually did want to help each other out because we each one of us wanted to be successful. So I think the entrepreneurship community has that like, oh, I can help you guys out with this. Here's a guide about this. I can help you guys with this because here's this article I found. It might be good for your company. Like this kind of environment is very different than what's currently happening now with a lot of, I think, companies. They're competing so much that they're missing the mission, they're missing the people. So it's like, it's now startups that are trying to bring back that culture of like, so we're in this together.
Do you think it's a abundance versus not mentality in the communities, especially?
So what do you mean by that?
Like as you're saying it, I couldn't help, like in Phoenix we have a great startup community, I think, because everyone's idea is a little bit different and everyone's doing different things, and there's necessary funding that's like, oh, like they got funded and I didn't, but you think that, but people are, so they know that they will get their way through some way or form or fashion. And I think in companies I've seen it's very like there's finite resources. So I don't know. Maybe it's just an observation I have. I just feel the communities, especially in entrepreneurship, are very abundance focused.
Very interesting.
But you're in New York, like that's hyper competitive, so maybe it's different.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying. But I don't think like, even if you have all of the resources, and that's coming from like personal experience, like you might not always get your way, right? So even with all the resources in the world, it might not go your way. So then what? Right? Like you always have to lean on someone or people to kind of help your products grow and help you grow and see what they need. So it always goes back to, what am I doing? Who am I doing this for? So even if you have all the resources, like I know funding is always one of those that people go, oh man, I don't have funding. That's it. I can't continue.
I'm out.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, have you thought about what would you use the funding for besides help, right? I mean, that's a good way of using funding, but still. So I think it's also like learning how to use your time, right? Because that's something you can't get back.
Absolutely. What's been your favorite resource group? I always think about the tangible stuff is so much better than like this that you've had on your journey.
Resource. So I subscribe a lot to like definitely a lot of the webinars and emails that I get from like venture groups or
Mm.
startups that are looking to see. I'm trying to think of some in
YC has a lot of good podcasts too. So there's a lot of.
Yeah, there's so much out there. Like I subscribe to most of it, and then
Mm.
if I start getting in and I don't see that it's useful, I will start unsubscribing. But if I start seeing that it's useful, I start like sending it out to friends and be like, "Hey, you should check this out because
Mm.
you mentioned one time like this was important to you." So if it's like really specific, I also start sending it out to other people. Like I don't send out things I've never heard of or don't know anything about. But definitely, if I find that it's useful, I even share it up on LinkedIn or something. Be like, this might be helpful. Um, but yeah, just most of those is just like, or even on Eventbrite, they sometimes
Mm.
have events for like pitch competitions. Like, I don't go to win; I go more to like get better at it.
Mm.
So that kind of helps me a little bit. So when I don't get stage fright, but usually I think when you go and you have that goal of like I'm going to be better than I was yesterday or than the last competition that I did, that I definitely canceled like 3 times before I actually started yoga. Um, then I've accomplished something. So it's like,
Mm.
I think people forget that entrepreneurship is a lot about you getting better too. It's not just your company's getting better because if you're not good, neither is the company, right? Because you're not in a good place, maybe mentally, physically. You need to relax, or you have too much of a workload, or you're not self-aware. Maybe you don't know the mistakes that you're making. Like those are kind of things that I think we have to take, and we, as we're growing this whatever it is that we're growing, right? This little mini universe, we also need to make sure that we're growing with it, or
Mm.
that something's improving in ourselves. So,
How are you going about improving yourself?
reading a lot.
Mm.
So like lately, I've been reading some books that some friends sent me, which is kind of cool, like about nursing. That was something I was thinking about when I was in college and I was working and volunteering. And they've been just sending books, and I've just been reading up on like how like nurses have been working and how they get their certificates and like what kind of trouble they kind of have, like what emotional tolls does healthcare have and what kind of things we can change for the future. So
Mm.
I'm thinking ahead of like, well, let's see what's coming. Let's see if all these people are all feeling really like burnt out. Something's got to change. But it's like,
Oh, cool.
where can I help? How can I use my company to help them with burnout? Like, where could I be useful here? So just thinking ahead.
Oh, I love it. So speaking of thinking ahead, where do you know, and this is, I hate this question, but I've been trying to get better at asking it. So bear with me. This is we're gonna struggle through this. But looking at Purple, looking at yourself, what do you see the next 5, 10, 15 years for the company, for yourself? Because frankly, there's a lot we can't control, but there's somewhat a little bit for our little universe we can't control. So where do you hope, or slash where do you want to go?
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely want to continue to grow it into a company. And I definitely want to see if it could be something where I could start helping out communities like it could be other industries too. It doesn't have to be correlated to just healthcare, but like if I could help with like um, I think there's a lot happening with like mental awareness,
Hmm.
like maybe by saying if our product helps reduce stress, that maybe we're also helping that group that has issues with like um, mental awareness. And then other things could be definitely giving. I definitely want to be able to give back to the community. And one of the things that I try to work towards is like, I didn't grow up with a lot of like financial literacy and all of that stuff.
Hmm.
I think that, you don't get taught that in school. And I
Hmm.
wish that more people talked about it. It's amazing. It's
It's
amazing.
so fun. Oh, it's so. If I'm not gonna lie. If I share my screen with you right now, I'll tell you. I have Charles Schwab open. I have the best index funds. I have. Can you have a Roth IRA and a 401k, and the Dow Jones? So.
Yep. I mean, people don't know of the market, right? They don't.
Mhm.
What is that? That's kind of a problem, right? I think that people should just know more about it. Just like know that
Mhm.
it's out there, know what it's for. You don't need to be an expert. You
Mm,
definitely should be aware. I mean, I don't think it's a good idea to just kind of think of, if this is my industry, this is my path, this is the only thing I'm going to focus on. And as an artist, I have to say I have to learn more about financial statements and stuff than I've ever had to think about in my life. And I mean, I love it because you feel like you're in control now of
mhm.
the future. You're in control now. Like, it's like, well, you know, if you can't move forward, then you've got to change. Something's got to change.
I think being a entrepreneur in, especially right now with COVID and everything, has given me so much more to strive for. I think it's so easy to get embodied with the news that just having something that you can control, um, is such a blessing. So I don't know if you how you feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, at first I was like, well, I feel bad for the folks that, have to kind of stick to a schedule.
Hmm.
I have to wake up at 9 and leave work at 5. And so, because they won't know what to do with this. But
Hmm.
I'm like, but this is the life of an entrepreneur. I was like,
Hmm.
oh, God. When things don't go as planned and you've got to change it up, right? So I was like, well, I mean, they'll have to learn, and they are. I mean, I from personal experience, my mom is getting so great at this remote working, and
Mm.
she's getting into it. She's like, I don't know how to do the laptop with the camera. I was like, it's fine. You'll learn. You'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Like, it's okay. Just accept that. Okay, I don't know how to do this, but I'm gonna ask for help, or I'm gonna figure this out, and that's it. And she's getting into it.
I'm gonna actually stay with that point, like asking for help. I think as an entrepreneur, as a person with that mindset, you constantly asking smarter people for advice. And I think a lot of people have a hard time with that. Like especially going back to finance or anything. It's why do you think that is?
Because no one wants to look stupid. Um,
Mm,
right? No one wants to look dumb in front of their friends. I think it's just like it's probably an ego thing that we all have where it's like, which is, it's understandable, right? We
mm,
don't want to look dumb in front of people. We worked this hard with this degree and got this job. If we look dumb now, it's like, what are they going to think? This is going to be my reputation for my whole career or my job. So I think that, yeah, that needs to change. But I think that it comes from just trying to look good or special, and you could be struggling inside. But I think social media sometimes has that same aspect where it's like people maybe they can't ask for help, but they're kind of putting out in the world that they're doing fine. It's that same, I don't know, that same connection.
it is. It's interesting. It's something I'm actually spending a lot of time on because it's really not hard to ask.
Yeah.
Like we had a client the other day and they needed something from they needed masks, and I was like, why don't you just go ask? So I picked up the phone, called, and asked. Right? It's it's definitely it's definitely an interesting conversation I'm trying to have with people because it's not hard, right? Especially
No.
here on social, like you probably send a ton of emails, cold emails, and maybe one of them have turned into something.
And some of them, there's no response or there is a response where it's like, oh, I forgot I even did this. Cool.
Mhm.
This person answered back. Like, if you just keep moving along, I think you won't be like dwelling, like, oh, I didn't get that response, and then
Mm.
you don't move, right? You're stuck. So, for sure. I mean, that's something I hope the next generation can change. That whole, like, not ask for help because you're afraid of what other people might.
Well, I think it's much like for financial literacy. You just have to keep talking about it, and the people are going to start waking up. But we're getting towards the end where I love to have, I've been kind of gearing the conversation and driving it, but I want you to get on the soapbox and just talk about what you're passionate about right now, what's on your mind, something you wish most people would know, but this is your moment.
All right. Whew. All right, what I'm passionate about. So, passionate about healthcare. Passionate about people. So I love learning new things about other people. So thank you for having me here.
Hmm.
This has been really awesome, right? Because now I get to talk to other people about you too, not just me. Um, so some of the things that I like to kind of do are just reach out to communities. So if anybody also wants to reach out to me, feel free. Like if there's anything I can help you
Hmm.
with, if there's something that you feel like, hey, I've been struggling with, I don't know, let's say it's like a pitch deck you have that you want some review or some writing that you maybe you've been doing some grant writing and you're like, hey, I'm not sure how I did this. Like, I'd be more than happy to review that, or I can connect you with some people who helped me. Um, yeah, just kind of like continue to look towards the future. So just kind of see what's next and see who else we should be looking out for, right? Because there's other
Mm.
people out there that are probably doing really awesome stuff that we haven't even met yet. So just yeah, I'm trying to think of what else, but I think that's pretty much it.
I think it's great. I think you've hit up on so many topics that I find so much passion in. Right. The reason I do what I do is because it's much like you. Like I found a problem and I've run full speed through walls to try and do it. Right.
Yeah, and I've seen your stuff. You've been doing. How long have you been doing this for? You think?
Marketing or just entrepreneurship.
Both, or they weren't at the same time.
Uh, you know, I started at a hackathon in.
See, hackathons.
I love hack. I think everyone should go to a hackathon. Like the notion that you could start a company in one weekend was preposterous to me. I didn't think you could do it.
No,
I really didn't. I was like, what? It takes years. Only X amount of people can do it. We built a basic web app and started that company. Ran with it for a year. Product market fit wasn't there. We focused more about the raising the capital than actually making money. So that was February of 2018 ish, and then we closed that down in June of 2019, and then August had a new one going because I was like, oh, I think I'm done, and then as well as I do, once you get bit by this bug, you can't stop.
I know. Yep. You really can, and you shouldn't. I mean, I guess that's part of the game, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of borderline crazy. Like I don't know how to stop. Like because it's just so fun. Like I'll be honest, I'm like sitting here with like there's books behind me and books here, and it's, there's always learning and doing and trying new things. So but it's much this is exactly why I wanted you on, because we haven't made it yet. We're both on the trajectory to get there, and frankly it's gonna be fun to look at this in 10-20 years and laugh about it, because it's like, look at us. Like we were talking about this, now we did this and this and this.
Yeah. What were we talking? But you know what? It'll be like a good memory, right? Because it's like
Absolutely.
during a pandemic, right? It's our first
Mm-hmm.
pandemic. So this is what we were doing. We were talking
making friends during a pandemic. So this is the plug part. I want you to plug anything and everything that you think can benefit people, that people need to know. Your website's not launched yet, and we're going to talk about that after. But besides your LinkedIn, where can people find you?
So I think I'm on Instagram and Twitter, but I'm still slowly trying to get used to those environments, because I've always been on LinkedIn and I wanted to learn how it works. Like I want to learn how these platforms work, and I think that they each have their own like a niche kind of like way of trying to engage with people, because they're so different. I was never on social media a year before this, so this is all new to me. So it's like definitely reach out on both those platforms, which are on my LinkedIn. So if you just go and look at purple, there's a see more, and you can see like the Instagram, and even if the website hasn't been fully launched, you could totally like look at see what's there. I mean, I try to put as much as I can there, but still learning.
Yeah. Oh, I love. Do you have any questions about marketing and stuff? I mean, I'm here.
Okay, sure. So what are kind of some tips that people that want to do more marketing can learn?
Okay, I'm gonna do this because I think this is the most important website in the world besides Google. I tell people this all the time. It's the creative barrier that stops so many people. Like, what stops you about learning about anything finance is it's a knowledge barrier. In marketing, it's a creative barrier. So I'll send you the link, but there's this website called Quora, and if you just type in medicine or healthcare or nursing, thousands and thousands of questions are going to pop up. And doing a quick scroll, you're going to find someone asks you something about delivery. You're like, oh, I know something about it. Let me just type out a response. That's as easy as marketing can be. You can just copy and paste that and post it. And that could be a text-based post. And then someone comments something and you make a quick selfie style video answering that question. It's all a Q&A game.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, because I've heard of people also like from the comments they're taking and making posts, right?
Mhm.
It's like recycling, but also you're also changing the game.
Yeah.
Someone else didn't see that.
I'm going to drop a link. I was just notified by LinkedIn. Another person I'm going to have on the show, his name's Eddie. He's real estate here in Phoenix. But basically, I'm looking at his post. He took a screenshot of a message that we had, right? And he posted it and had some copy about it. Like,
Basically.
the biggest thing is don't overthink it. And
Okay.
regardless of anything, it's most people will never see it. So why not go all in? But
Well, thank you. That's awesome.
yeah, and we'll talk about a little bit more afterwards. But thank you so much for being on. I appreciate you so much. And again, everyone, I bring people on, especially those who are in the midst, in the trenches, because we're figuring this out day in and day out, and there's things that we can have accounted for, much like the pandemic, and businesses are gonna, I don't know if you saw, but some of the biggest companies right now were born out of the '08 recession. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, 10 years from now, I wonder what companies are going to come out of this pandemic. So,
Good point. Good point. Yeah, definitely something to watch out for. That'd be really cool.
Absolutely. So we're going to end it here. We'll chat for a couple more minutes, but thank you so much for being on. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And everyone, like I said, links are in the bio. Please make sure to follow her. I think you guys are going to definitely be seeing Purple a lot more out there in the next little bit. So. We'll have a teaser. We'll have to have you back in a little bit. So anyway, we're going to end it here. Have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic day, guys. And stay healthy.